Okay, I'm at 509 Talowood Drive in Beavercreek, Ohio, on a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. I'm looking for any, root intrusion, any kind of structural issues, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. So the only access is the roof. You can see I'm on the roof here. Here is the backyard, and here is the main stack, and it is PVC inside, and then we're hoping we can get all the way out, at least off the property. And so this does look like it dog legs through the basement, and then should go out the front of the house. So I do have a little bit of a standoff on this, and I hope that helps me get out a little further. So we are now horizontal, and so we are under the floor in the basement. I think the house was built in '78, so it's good that it has the PVC on the interior. And this all looks beautiful. You can see there's not even any seams there. And then here is a clean out, about 55 feet. And so we will try to mark that when I pull back. And we have switched over into clay. So this is kind of an odd combination to have PVC inside and then using clay outside. This is at the very end of the usage of clay. If it's late 70s, most of the time by this point they were already using PVC outside. But clay can be a great material. They've been using it for 100 years. The biggest issue you find with it a lot of times is that there are sections. The sections are only about 3 feet long, and so you have a seam, and so the more seams, the more opportunity for root intrusion. But this house doesn't have any currant trees anyway in the front yard, and so we're hoping that we don't find any kind of root intrusion. And so I'm going to try to go a little faster, most likely on the way out, because I want to try to keep momentum so I can go as far as I can. And see, here's another, it looks like a clean out access, a pipe coming in from above. That's 86 feet, and we'll try to mark that also. So far, this line looks great. I haven't seen any issues at all. That's what we want. It's already getting pretty hard to push here. So what I may be able to do, I'm hoping for it, is if I can get just far enough to at least get off the property. With a little bit of a belly here. And this looks pretty minor. Yeah, you can see. It's just a very minor belly, but we'll try to locate that also and find out if that's even on the property. It could be off the property, and therefore it wouldn't be the responsibility of the homeowner. So based off the footage, I should be getting pretty close to the main. There we are, perfect. So we were able to make it all the way to the main. I didn't see any major issues at all. There was a slight belly about 15 feet back, and based off of where the main is, which is across the street, it's just inside the street but on the other side, just inside the curb. So I'm going to locate that belly just for reference. It was very minor. It's barely worth reporting, but we do just want to mark it, and that way they can feel comfortable if it is off the property where that belly is. They'll know that if it ever causes an issue, that they can contact the municipality and have it repaired. I believe it was coming up right around in here, maybe right around 115 if I remember right. There you go. So here's the end of it, and so I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to locate exactly where this is, and then come back and I will locate the other side of it, or I may just reference it by foot, because since it is straight right here, I can just hopefully, since I am on the roof, limit my trips up and down the ladder by marking this on the downstream side, and then figuring out about how many feet it is upstream, and I can mark that, just so they know. Like I said, this is more of a reference locate than anything. That way they know if in the future it does get worse for any reason, they'll be able to report that to the sewer department, and this should be taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video like I mentioned, and we're going to go get this located. Okay, so this is out in the street. It's about 3 feet out in the street, and I believe this belly is no more than 3 or 4 feet. And usually the municipality will cover a few feet onto the property, especially if the problem extends. So let's say we're at 116, and you can see the camera lens isn't even getting covered, and so that's maybe 3 to 4 feet, and it never even covered. It's barely worth mentioning. There were no solids in that spot or anything, so it's not causing an issue, and that belly's probably been here for the life of the pipe. A lot of times when they put them in and they backfill, some spots may sink a little bit, and that way they'll, and they'll hold a little bit of water. But it looks like it's overtaken that spot without a problem. It's so minor, and so I will mark it on the report, but it's nothing to worry about. And the rest of this line looks wonderful. You can see all the joints on the clay pipe look really good. No root intrusion. You can see there, we just went past that clean out, and I will go back and mark that exactly where that is, and then I'll also mark the clean out next to the house. Right as it exited the house, there's also one in the PVC. But this line looks beautiful. back in the PVC. And we should be coming up on that clean out. There it is. Again, both these spots will be marked. We are vertical coming up the stack. You can tell by the bottom left hand corner at the angle of the camera, and then comes back flat, and then we should be coming back vertical here in a second. There we go. Alright, here we are. So, that line looked great, especially for its age. There was that little minor belly there out there in the street that if it ever does cause a problem, if something changes in the next 50 years or so, you should be able to call the municipality and get that taken care of. But as of right now, it's very, very minor. Like I said before, it's barely worth mentioning. But it will be on the report just for reference. And then both of the outside cleanouts will be marked. I don't know if they come all the way to the surface, but there's definitely a connection there. Sometimes they put them in and then they don't bring a riser pipe all the way up to the surface. And that would probably be more likely on the clay that's out in the middle of the yard versus the one up next to the house. I would think the one with the PVC should have a riser pipe, but I'm not 100% on that. I will mark it with a flag and some green paint, and if ever needed, you could always let a plumber know or something like that, or try to dig it up to see if you can find it there. But everything in that pipe looked great. All the PVC didn't have any issues at all, and the clay looked wonderful. No offsets. The only thing to mention again was that very minor belly that is out in the street. So that will end the inspection for 509 Talowood Drive in Beavercreek, Ohio.